Hi, and in this video I'd like to talk about tier sets in Legion and specifically what Hazzikostas said about them last week. Now, something changed with tier sets in Legion in that what has been the case for a very, very long time is we've had 5 tier pieces, and you want to wear up to 4 of them to get your set bonuses. You get a set bonus when you wear 2 pieces, you get a set bonus when you wear 4 pieces. And you know, as I say, for a very long time we've had the 5 pieces in there. It was first tried out actually in vanilla in Anchorage, the Temple of Anchorage, but it became a permanent feature from Burning Crusade. But with Legion they added a 6th piece, the cape. Now, the reason for this is of course because of legendaries. You could have a situation where, let's say, your 2 bis legendaries also happen to occupy tier pieces such as chest and shoulders, and under the old system of having 5 tier pieces, you can't wear your 2 bis legendaries along with having your 4 set tier. So Blizzard introduced this idea so that, yeah, you can have all 4 tier pieces that you need to get your 4 set bonus, plus whatever 2 legendaries you like. Now that worked okay in Nighthold. Okay, mind. Not brilliantly, because there was always the situation with the old 5 pieces that the one you could choose to do without would probably the one that had the least good stats, and you'd ideally replace that with an off piece that had much better stats. Well, this time you were still sort of forced into it, for some anyway, because if you did indeed have your 2 bis legendaries as occupying tier pieces, then you would go for whichever 4 tier pieces didn't occupy those same slots. But it was still pretty good. It worked pretty well. Then Tomb of Sargeras, of course, was going to introduce another tier set. So here we add the possibility of getting a 2-piece tier 19, as is usually the case, and a 4-piece tier 20. Now, a lot of people were asking at the time, are Blizzard going to allow this? The Blizzard response at the time was, of course, yes, you know, this is okay, this is absolutely fine. Now, I took that to mean that they were perfectly happy with it. It turns out this is not the case, because Hazzikostas has now said that they're not at all happy with the idea of having effectively 3 different set bonuses, a 2 set from one tier and a 4 set from another. In fact, with Titan Forging, another Legion feature, you potentially, for a very small number of very lucky people, could even open yourself up to a 2-piece tier 19, a 2-piece tier 20, and before long, a 2-piece tier 21. Possibly unlikely, because they generally try and make sure that the 4 set bonus is the most powerful to try and avoid this sort of situation. Now, I am quite solution driven when I sort of am presented with a problem. And I think with a problem like this, it is, I think, very, very simple to solve. And, you know, if they weren't unhappy with it, then I wouldn't have really given it a second thought. It's the fact that Blizzard have said that they're not happy with this situation that makes me think, then why was it ever allowed to transpire? It was very foreseeable, and the solution was fairly straightforward. So here we go. We identify the problem. Now, it makes sense what their issue is, by the way, and this is the reason why so many people asked if Blizzard were going to allow it. Because the set bonuses traditionally change our gameplay. In fact, Hazzikostas even said they prefer that sort of set bonus over just a passive increase to something. Because even when you have a set bonus that just looks like a passive increase to something, to an ability, for example, my 2 set in tier 21 is going to be a passive increase to 1 spell. That's still going to change the gameplay, because what it does is it shifts your priority. And that also has other effects. It changes what talents you use and all that sort of things. So your gameplay will change from tier to tier, which is why, of course, it's important to keep up with the latest guides on playing your class. A guide on playing your class from the start of Legion may not be as relevant later on because of the effect of set bonuses. So, problem. Because we've got 6-piece, it's possible to have a 2 set and a 4 set bonus. Blizzard don't want that. Solution, don't have the 6-piece, you have the 5-piece. So then you follow it on. Okay, but you know, the reason why we moved from the 5-piece is because problem is you can have your 2 bis legendaries occupy that. It's not possible to wear, for some anyway, your 2 bis legendaries with 4-set bonus as well. Solution, don't create legendaries that occupy tier slots. There are 5 tier slots. What have we got? We've got helm, shoulders, chest, gloves and legs are the traditional 5, aren't they? We've now got cape. But with those traditional 5, don't make any legendaries that occupy those slots. Now, again, it's not as simple as that, because that raises a problem with so many legendaries. It's probably quite difficult to stay away from those slots and not create a situation where, let's just say as an example, they end up creating 2 bracers that are both considered BIS for a particular class or spec. Obviously, you can't wear both, so you're still then stopping them from wearing them. Now, my solution to this, which was a completely different problem but still applies, that I said some time ago, would again come into this. So what do you want to do? You want a range of legendaries. You're allowing people to only wear 2 of them. You don't want a situation where it's interfering with the tier set, but you also don't want a situation where someone can't wear any 2 that they like. What do? Obvious. You either make all legendaries rings or you make all legendaries trinkets. My suggestion some time ago was to have just combined trinkets and legendaries. So don't have trinkets in the normal sense, just have them as legendaries. They fit into the trinket slot. It's like the legendary trinket slot. Because the philosophy for designing legendaries is exactly the same as philosophy for designing trinkets. You're trying to come up with, you know, very few trinkets are just stat sticks. Ironically, the ones that are some of the most sought after. But generally speaking, they have some special effect on them. That's exactly the same mindset with designing legendary, isn't it? So why weren't they just made trinkets? This again would solve this problem. And again, it's something you could see coming a mile away, and a simple solution as well. Just have all these legendaries, but they occupy the trinket slot, stops them interfering with anything else. You don't have to create normal trinkets, which means you can put your development time into thinking of interesting effects just for a much smaller pool of items. You can go back to the 5 tier sets. You don't have this situation of a 2-piece and a 4-piece, which is mucking about potentially with balance and certainly coming up with more permutations of gameplay than Blizzard intended or even want. And again, it's just, to me, sounds so simple. You know, if you make all legendaries, either it could be rings, it could equally be rings, but I just think it solves another problem if you make them trinkets, and you solve this whole process. And it's as simple as that. What do you think? Comments below. Let me know what you thought. The Tuesday talk, speaking about trinkets, by the way, this Tuesday is likely to be quite interesting. A little bird tells me there's going to be some interesting news about the Pantheon trinkets that are going to be coming in Antorus. We might think we know what they're like at the moment based on what the PTR. I gather there's going to be a little bit of a change with the coming PTR patch. So we'll have plenty to talk about then. That's UK time, 7 PM every Tuesday. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. If you want any live discussions, take part in those, join me when I'm streaming. Until then, I'll see you later.